Hello and welcome back. So continuing on with our camera utilities, as we said in the last video, this is patch and zone location.
Right. So what I want to do is be able to know, based off of our target lookat, which patch are we currently standing on. So to do that, we'll create a method called getCurrentPatch. So I'll go below our void update method and we'll make a public static method that returns a vector2 called getCurrentPatch. It's not going to take anything in because we have all the information we need. So we're going to create a variable called current equals a new vector2. And this vector2 is going to be comprised of a cast to int, and that is going to be made of our target lookat dot transform dot position dot x divided by our patch size. So that's our x component. And I'm going to copy this part of it. Hit return, hit Control V, come to the end, hit semicolon, let ReSharper do its thing. Go ahead and set the second part to be Z. Get rid of these. So that will give us our current patch location. So we simply have to return it. Now, that does leave the fact that we do not have a target lookat right now. We've got one, available, but it's not set.
Right.
So we need to set it. So let's go up into our awake method. And inside of here, we'll say target lookat equals GameObject dot find target lookat. Now, if you are using Shannon, this should work just fine. If you're not, however, you're not going to have a target lookat. So if target lookat equals null at this point, then target lookat is going to be equal to a new game object called target lookat. And then from here, target lookat dot transform dot parent is going to be equal to our camera dot main dot transform. So basically, we're just going to parent the lookat to the camera itself at this point.
Okay.
So that makes sure that we've always got a target lookat. So if what it kind of does is it kind of cheats the system. If we're using Shannon, we know we got a third-person camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to rely on the fact that she has a target lookat.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I'm going to attach the target lookat to the camera. So in effect, we're using a first-person camera type system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to assume that wherever the camera is where that's going to be the current patch.
Okay.
So we'll set it up that way. And then that will return that. But we still need to figure out what zone are we in. We know our patch, but we don't know our zone. Luckily, we've done all that math, and I really don't feel like typing it again. So let's go into our train exporter. And if we look at our train mesh builder, we have a method called getZone. I'm going to copy that method from our train exporter, go into camera utilities. I'm going to paste that in, and I'm going to rename it to get current zone. So it will take in a position. It'll do all the same calculations just like before to determine what zone we're in. But I also want to make an overload to this. So let's make another. This one will be public static, and I'll have to change the original to public too. So this will be a public static returns vector2 called get current zone, takes nothing in, and this particular overload will return whatever get current zone when we pass in the get current patch. So we'll pass in the current patch to get this one, or this variant. And let's see, let's make this public. So we can use either one from anywhere. So just to test things out, let's go ahead and do void start. Debug. Debug.log. And we will say get current patch and debug.log get current zone. So we've got those. Jump back over to our project, find our main camera, go into code, get our camera utilities, attach that to our camera. If we look at our character controller, we've got a target lookup, but it's not spelled right. So let's see what happens. So we fall through the world, but we are printing stuff out. So we are currently in patch 00, which is part of zone 11. So that part is working correctly. Now, if I look at our main camera, target look at, our current position for target look at is at -110, which happens to be not where, well, hold on, let me find this. Target look at, where are you? Yeah, it's falling with the camera. So, but I also want to change that as well because it's not perfectly centered on our camera.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back into our code. That should be this one, I think. Ignore. So that's going to parent that. And I want to not reparent that particular target look at. So Control X, Control V. Let's move that here. And before we parent it, though, we want to set our position target look at. Let's see, think about that. No, what I do want to do is position it and then set target look at dot transform dot local position equal to vector 3 dot 0. So now if I hit play followed by pause, look at target look at, I should be 00. I should be able to find it, and it's right on our camera. So that's what I wanted to do, which is good. Now, if I stop playing this and I go to this one, yes, and I change find object here to be target look at, just changing the naming to get the case right. So if I hit play and I pause, now we don't have a target look at attached to the camera because it has indeed found this one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's reacting the way it should. So I can go ahead and stop that. All right, so we've tested that bit of code. Let's see, is there something else? Yeah, there is one other thing I'd like to do now. And I probably should have done that in the last video, but I missed it. So we'll catch up now. And that is, we've got this debug text here, but I haven't set it up. So what I'll do is inside of our awake, I'll say debug text equals game object dot find, and sometimes I put a debug text and just drag or create an empty game object and put a GUI text on it, and then when I do that I usually call it debug text. So I'm going to check and just see if I've done that with this particular scene. If I have, use it. If not, create it. So if debug text equals null, then go ahead and create me a new one. So debug text equals new game object called debug text. To that, I'm going to add a component. So we're going to add components, and this one we're going to add a GUI text. So that'll add our GUI text to it so we can use it. And just to test it, let's do rs equals get current patch plus new line, and I can wrap that. Then s plus equals and then we can say debug text dot GUI text dot text equals s. Of course, there's probably no alignment and stuff on this, but debug text here. So here it is, but it is no longer located on the screen anywhere. So that's because I have no pixel offsets. Positions aren't set anywhere. I think it's like 0.5, 0.5. I'd have to play with the default settings. Here's an easy way to do that. So if you're doing it and you're not quite sure what to do, just do a GUI text. Yeah, 0.5, 0.5 here. Got it. Okay. So let's get rid of this one. Take this one. 0.5, 0.5. There we go. So now it's working. So what I'll have to do is, if we want to use this, we're going to have to add some more information. So that's simple enough. We can go debug text dot GUI text dot alignment, and we can set our alignment to be whatever we want it to be. Let's align it left. Again, debug text dot GUI text dot anchor equals, I prefer lower left in this case, and then we can set debug text dot GUI text dot pixel offset equal to a new vector 2, and we're going to take our screen width, screen dot width divided by 2, and then subtract 10 from that. Then we're going to take our screen dot height, divide that by 2, and then subtract 10 from it. So that takes care of that, except I believe this needs to be a negative. So negative 10 minus 10 plus 10, I think. All right, let's see what happens. And first of all, let's get rid of you. You're annoying. All right. Oh, hold on. Still didn't do that. We never went back and adjusted debug.
Right.
Text transform dot position equals new vector 3 0.5f 0.5f 0. And still not. What's going on? Okay, so it's up right there, but wrong there. Okay, so minus screen height, which means this is probably plus 10 as well. There we go. Okay, so now we've got our debug text aligned and set up in the lower left-hand corner of our screen. good for displaying things like frame count or frame per second and anything else. So that gets that set up. And I believe that is all I wanted to cover for this video, plus a little bit.
Okay. All right. Well, that is going to wrap up this video. I believe in the next one we're going to get into drawing our circles.
Oh, drawing circles is fun too.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to conclude the video, and thank you all. We'll see you guys in the next video.